Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. Okay, today I am really excited to show you this game. This game is pretty fantastic, and it is called Civitas Nihilium. I had never heard of this game until a few days ago when a Dungeon Dive patron sent me a message and said, "Hey, you need to check this game out. It's unique. It's something different." And it kind of has that underdog vibe that that we like on the Dungeon Dive. And this game is only available used right now. I got mine on eBay for about $40. And this says Civitas Nihilium, a solo player dice rolling tabletop game with immersive soundtrack. And the music you're going to be hearing in the video, I think, will be featured from the soundtrack. Set within a cyberpunk universe. So this says that the Civitas idea is completely flawed. For your entire career, you've worked the streets of Civitas Nihilium, a city built with the promise of becoming a technological epicenter, a neo-human paradise, and a harbor for those wishing to transcend beyond humanity and into the machine, but at a price. This is a future where cities compete for population, charging their inhabitants small fortunes in exchange for patriotization, if I can say that word, into these self-proclaimed utopias. They will do anything to lure you in. This is a dedicated solo player experience that combines simple stat roll mechanics, resource management, deck building, and storytelling to provide a solitaire experience like no other. So this is a pretty crazy world that this guy, James Bradley, has created. He has a YouTube channel that has all kinds of in-fiction videos with expanded lore. There are soundtracks. I think he has a new game coming out that is a city builder, a cyberpunk city builder. And I think that's called something like Civitas 2234 or something like that. And yeah, and there's an abundance of stuff for this game's world. It's kind of this multimedia type presentation here. Now, if you are familiar and you enjoy books, these were the kinds of books that I was thinking of while I was playing this. Especially the Richard Paul Russo trilogy. I only have two of them right now. I'm just trying to find the first one, Destroying Angel, in mass market size. But it is Carlucci's Edge and Carlucci's Heart. The back of Carlucci's Heart says, "In the burned out streets of 21st century San Francisco, Lieutenant Frank Carlucci is drawn into an investigation surrounding the disappearance of his daughter's friend, a dying man who is carried off mysteriously. It's one kidnapping nobody seems to want to talk about, but as Carlucci digs deeper, the corruption and decay he finds is nothing compared to the final horror that could have devastating implications, a secret known only as Cancer Cell." Really, really good cyberpunk, some of my favorite. And of course, this game also reminds me of some proto-cyberpunk, and that would be something like Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, aka Blade Runner, written by Philip K. Dick. Because in this game, you are playing as a detective, and their rookie partner, and you are trying to solve crimes. However, it is not a deduction game. It's not a game based on you're not actually trying to solve the crime. The crime really is just a narrative MacGuffin, and you will be interacting with witnesses at locations, with random encounters, first responders, and buying upgrades to your characters, working towards clearing off and collecting evidence so you can solve the crime. And to beat the game, you have to solve 3 crimes in a row. And there are a number of cards that you will be interacting with throughout the game, and I have some examples here. And I do think the best way to show off the game is to kind of do a setup and then some play examples. Now, the game it's a little complex, it's a little fiddly, and that isn't made any easier to understand from the rulebook. The rulebook is pretty bad. The designer, James Bradley, does have a nearly 2.5 hour explainer video on his Twitch channel where he goes into great detail on how to play the game, and he has released a huge rewrite of the rule book. But I watched that video and then I read the rules, and I have a pretty good understanding. There are still a few things that I'm not sure about, but you'll get a really good idea of how this game plays just by watching this video. And it's really thematic. And whenever I don't know what to do, I try to interpret what I'm doing thematically from my eyes as a detective and how the game wants me to engage in that theme. But we have our main character and our rookie. And so these are our detectives and our partner rookie, and that we will be working with. And each of them, I'm sorry for the glare here. I bought the game used and it was all sleeved, and I don't like sleeved cards because of this shine. But I just haven't taken the time to unsleeve them yet. Also, a lot of the copies I saw used talk about the curvature of the cards, and they are very curved. And so that is unfortunate. It seems to be kind of a common thing. But I'll try to keep the glare down to a minimum. But okay, so we have our main character and our rookie. The main characters have a blue outline. The rookies have a white outline. You have a little bit of a story. You will have their name, a little bit of a story, and a special ability that they have. And then on the side here, we have kind of 6 stats. The top 3 is a currency. The bottom 3 are your stats, and then the bottom number is your hit points. And so the 3 currencies are reputation, Ethereum, and Ion, I believe. Let me check that. I always forget the names of the currencies here. Where are those? So we have reputation, Ether, and Ion charges. And so when the game talks about its resource management system, those are the things that it's talking about. Reputation, because this is a cyberpunk world, all of the different characters you'll interact with will have a reputation total. And, a lot of times cyberpunk worlds are built on these very strict hierarchies. And so if you are a lower reputation, you can't engage with people at a higher reputation. And so reputation is a currency. You want to increase your reputation so you can engage with witnesses that are in the higher hierarchy. And then we have Ether. Ether is basically your money. It's kind of a cryptocurrency. So Ethereum. And so that is, you can use that to buy things. You can use that to buy upgrades. You can use that to bribe witnesses and bribe first responders and so on. And then we have your Ion charges. Ion charges is energy. And you use Ion charges to power up your upgrades. And you also use Ion charges as an energy for traveling from one location to the next. So if a location says it takes 7 Ion charges, you need to have, as a team, you need to have 7 or more Ion to get to that location. Usually your currencies such as reputation and Ion, those aren't spent. You just have to hit those totals. We'll kind of see that more as we go. And then we have our stats here. And the stats are charisma, engagement. I believe I always forget the names there. What are the names of the stats here? Charisma, engagement, and analysis. Basically, we have your smooth talking skill, your physical alteration skill, and your detective skill, basically. And those will have a number, and those are a number that get added to the roll of a D10, and you're trying to hit target numbers to overcome challenges. And so those are your characters. Your characters will interact with a huge number of witnesses, and the stack of witnesses is insane. There are over 200 different potential witnesses that you can interact with while you are trying to solve your crimes. There's a lot of variety in this game, tons and tons and tons of variety. It's pretty cool. But witnesses will have a name. Sometimes they will be part of a faction. Pink hair witnesses are part of this Glee faction, and Glee is kind of like this drug. I have these Glee tokens, and I've played the game 3 times now, and I have never used a Glee token. I have no idea what they are for, but I know there is a faction called the Glee Heads or something, and they have pink hair, and they take this drug. But the NPCs or the witnesses, they might have a qualifier, and in this instance, this would be a reputation qualifier. So your main characters have to have a reputation of 4 or more to engage with Zach Llewellyn. And then when you engage with them, you can choose what you want to do. You can choose to question them, you can search them, or you can arrest them. And you'll have to make a stat test based on one of these. So if you question them, you will use your charisma. And this little symbol here means that you can either choose your main character or your rookie to make a charisma check of 8 or higher. And if you pass that, you gain 4 reputation. If you fail it, you lose 4 reputation. Here you can search them. You can use your analysis skill. And so that you can choose your main character or your rookie. You have to have an analysis roll of 9 or higher. If you do that, you get 3 ion charges. If you fail that, you lose 5 reputation. Here, this symbol here shows the 2 characters together. You get to add their results, and that would be a physical altercation. So that would be an engagement of 11 or higher. If you do that, you get 2 ether, and if you fail that, you take 2 damage. So pretty simple there, but those are your witnesses, and there are all kinds of different witnesses. And different witnesses will have different ways to interact with them. You will be traveling to different locations. For here, we have the Yang Memorial Park, and different locations might have a different qualifier for ion charges, energy that you need to travel to them. And then when you get to a location, you can interact with it in different ways. Sometimes you will have choices in different stat tests. Sometimes you will just do a roll. And sometimes when you succeed on your roll, you will have this little tag there, and that is evidence. That's how you gather evidence. And you will be gathering a certain number of evidence off of your main crime that you're trying to solve. And whenever you gather all the evidence, then you can try to complete that main crime. If you ever have witnesses and locations that have a qualifier that you can't meet, so at the beginning of the game, sometimes the qualifiers will be really high and there's nothing you can do to meet them, then you have to draw a random encounter. And the random encounters are all kinds of different things. This is a chat bot black market. They will have all kinds of different little stories and different ways for you to interact with them. And sometimes you will be able to gain more reputation, more ion, more ether through the encounters. Sometimes they will just be combat encounters. Sometimes they will be different ways to interact with NPCs. But you will be forced at times to have a random encounter. And when you have a random encounter, you then also get to replenish your pool of potential witnesses and potential locations to investigate. Again, there's a lot going on in this game. When you first arrive at your crime scene, you will be greeted by a first responder from the first responder deck. And the first responder can be NPCs. It might be a gang there that's having a gang fight, and you have to deal with that first before you can start your crime investigation. But there are all kinds of different ways to interact with the first responders at the scene. And then we also have our upgrades. And because this is a cyberpunk world, we have cybernetic upgrades. And we have an upgrade deck, and you will have an opportunity to buy upgrades for a certain amount of ether. And then you can use your ion charges to power up that upgrade to do its special ability. And so that's how upgrades work. And then finally, our main thing that we're trying to solve here is our crimes. And there are a number of different crimes. We have easy crimes in green. We have medium crimes in yellow, and difficult crimes in red. A normal game, you will do one of each, working from easy to hard. In an easy game, you can do 2 greens and a yellow. It has a whole bunch of different ways that you can combine those crimes to make the games easier or harder. Each crime will have a main crime here. So this is the hackers of Civitas Nihilium. And this says here that the man behind humanity's endeavor into the cosmos lives in Civitas Nihilium. That's the name of the city. As an elderly, semi-cryo-suspended consciousness, controlling all of CN's ion technology. From beyond the material grave, his enemies thirst for his demise. This sounds a lot like Philip K. Dick's Ubik, doesn't it? Or Ubik. They thirst for his demise, and in this particular instance, have sought to end his control by hacking the plug to his digital life. Talon has requested you personally on this case. Okay, so that's the crime that we need to solve first. To do that, we need to gather 20 evidence. We also have our final encounter. This is what we are trying to do. This is at the end of our investigative timeline. This is at the beginning, this is at the end. Because we have 20 here, we need to take 20 evidence tokens, chits, and put those on top of the final encounter. As we gain those, we will clear them off. When we have cleared everything off, we can turn this over to do our final encounter, and that will be 3 tests that we have to do to solve this crime. Then we get these rewards, and then we go on to the next crime, trying to get 3. Now, there is the potential for this crime here, to become a cold case, where we run out of witnesses, we run out of locations to investigate, and then we have to move it down to a cold case area and move on to the next crime. But at certain points during that next crime, we can go back to this crime to try to continue to gather evidence. And there is a way on your cold cases to attach witnesses to them, or one witness as a key witness that you can keep going back to, prodding to learn more, to get more, so that you can solve these cold cases. Really, really cool. I love how cases can become cold. The game is a little hard to show up on a camera, the full thing, especially in the way that you're supposed to set it up. So I'm going to kind of set it up a little differently, and some of this is going to be off camera, mainly these 2 things here. The only thing the only other thing you need to know about your main case here is you will have 2 different initial ways to interact with that case, an A side and a B side. Sometimes it's a simple roll of a D10, like here, D10. On a 1 to a 5, you're working the A side. On a 6 to 10, you're working the B side. Sometimes those will be more complex. Sometimes the setups will be a little more complex, but we are just going to do an easy one for this example. I'm going to put the example cards that we showed off to the side. I'm going to put these down here a little bit off screen. Sorry about that, but that's just the only way I can really do this. I might as well just use these characters for my main character. So we have SP4M. So any character that has letters and numbers like this in their name, they are transhumans. So she's part of the transhuman group here. After several years incarcerated above the clouds, you're the ex-hacker turned crime detective cliche. An exceptional talent. You've hacked all of your upgrades to give you a formidable edge as a compulsory employee of your beloved CN. So we have 3 reputation, 1 ether, and 3 ion. We have 0 charisma, 0 engagement, and 3 analysis. So we're really good at analyzing things. We have 10 hit points. This character may swap resources, any resource, for ether when purchasing upgrades from the upgrade store and black markets. Okay, and my partner here, my rookie partner, is Cordell Jones, a failed aspirant of the Teocalli cult. Cordell saw the visions and knew how wrong the cult had become. The feathered serpent guides his actions now as he works for the CNPD to bring the cult down for good. So there is a cult faction, a techno cult faction that you can interact with. And Cordell Jones here, he has 1 reputation, 1 ether, 5 ion, 0 charisma. So my charisma bonuses are really low, 0 engagement, and 1 analysis, and 7 hit points. And his special ability is for every cult key witness attached to an FEC is a final encounter. So when I attach a key witness to my final encounter, if they are a cultist, I may discard them to add 1 point to any trial. A trial is your challenges. When you're doing a dice roll, that is a trial. That's a challenge. So my characters will be, I guess I'll kind of put them right here so you can see them a little bit. And we use these dice. We use D6 to keep track of their resources. So my main character has 3 reputation, 1 ether, and 3 ion. And the totals for these can be up to 18, represented by 3 dice in a row. And you have to build up the dice up to 6 before you can start a new D6. And so my rookie here has 1 reputation, 1 ether, and 5 ion. All right. Now, when you set up your crime, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a pool of witnesses and a pool of locations, and you will draw 3 cards. These are your potential witnesses. So we have Jason Davis, Harrison Harp, and GC 2455. Super high. I would need a lot of reputation to interact with him. My reputation right now is 4. I would need a reputation of 15 to interact with this guy. I need 9 to interact with him. And I need 10 to interact with him. So I really won't be able to interact with any of these witnesses right away. Hopefully we can go to some locations that might give us, might let us upgrade a little bit. But now let's draw our 3 potential locations. So think of these as potential leads. These are leads that we might want to check out. Maybe somebody has provided us with a dossier, and we know something about Jason Davis, Harrison Harp, and GC 2455, and somehow they might be connected to the Utanovitz Plaza, or maybe the Chief's office, or the Pace Quadrant. Now, the Pace Quadrant has a qualifier of 8 ion. And what do I have? I have 8, so we can travel to the Pace Quadrant. We need 7 ion and 6 reputation to go to the Plaza. I don't quite have that yet. And we also have the Chief's office, which doesn't have a qualifier. So that might be one good thing to start your game with. Okay, so those are the potential witnesses, potential upgrades, or potential locations. And then we also draw 3 upgrades, and these are upgrades that we can buy before our case starts. So we have the Barbarous Silo Bio, costs 5, takes 2 to charge, and it can heal us. At the point of each charge, this upgrade restores full health to everyone in your party. Okay, so we can trade 2 ion to fully heal everybody in our party. Here we have the Talon Co. Platinum membership. It costs 6. It costs 0 to charge, and you get into a location. Let's see. This gains you 3 ion, and upgrades are free unless you visit a location. When this happens, pay. So, if you go to a location, that's why it's in red, you have to pay an ether. If you can't pay, you remove all your upgrades. Oh, wow. So this is kind of it's an upgrade membership, and they can revoke your upgrades if you don't pay them. Oh, very, very nasty there. And a Newman Data Scamble cord costs 6, takes 2 to charge, and you get 1 witness card. At every charge, you may attach an additional key witness to an investigation's final encounter. So usually you can only have 1 key witness on a case, but if you use your Scamble cord, you can actually have more than 1 key witness. That's really, really helpful. So these get placed here to the left of our upgrade deck. I don't think I'm going to buy any right now. I can move out our main characters. We don't need them anymore. I'll keep my main quest right here. And now we need to roll our D10 to see what side we are going for. A 10. All right, so here we have this side here. Draw the following into your investigation. So your investigation, you have an investigation deck, which is also your timeline. You draw cards into it from your pool, or if your pool is empty, you blind draw from the top of the deck. And those are the things that you're trying to interact with in a certain order so you can beef up your characters so you can hit those higher total qualifiers. Okay, so I can draw into my investigation 1 first responder, 1 witness, and 3 locations. I can also add 1 resource of any type to my rookie. I'm going to add a reputation to my rookie, so I'm going to take his reputation up to 2. Now I have a reputation of 5. Still not enough to interact with any of those guys up there. But I can take 1 witness and 3 locations. Okay, the witness I'm going to take Harrison Harp. And Harrison Harp I've been around the block enough to know what this is. Lies, my friends. This entire Civitas is built on them. I couldn't care less what you're trying to do. Just give me my Patriot fees back and get out of my way. Okay, so he's pretty grouchy there. And I have to have 9 reputation to interact with him. Well, how will I get that? I can take all 3 of my locations. So now we can take a look at our locations. So these are the locations that we want to investigate. And hopefully we can earn some reputation while we are doing that so we can get to Harrison Harp. Because we've heard that Harrison Harp knows something about the hackers. He's pretty disgruntled. So maybe He is one of the hackers. He does not like the city. And so this is the kind of narrative that you want to be thinking about while you're playing this game. None of the cards will exactly pertain to the thing you're doing, but if you get into the theme, kind of like a solo RPG, you want to be developing the theme, that the story while you are going. And I love that. You guys know I love connecting dots to random elements. Okay, so I think we could stop by the chief's office first. So we're heading out. We've gotten our case. We've got our dossier. We got the files that we need. But we'll make a stop by the chief's office first. And then hopefully, let's see, we need 8 ion. We can go to the pace quadrant. And then maybe by then we'll have enough to head over to the plaza. So this is our investigation. The only thing we need now is our first responder. So let's see what the first responder is. This is Officer Stacy Quad. Okay. Quad's been working the streets of the neighboring Civitas Tal for as long as you have Nihiliums. They do things a little differently over in Tal. I'm not that into the sharing of intel with the rival Civitas detectives. Choose your path. Okay, so this is how we can interact with our first responder here. We can question, we can search, or we can exchange. So if we question, my main character has to get a charisma roll of 7 or higher. If I do, I gain 3 evidence from her, so she tells me something about my case, and I gain 3 reputation. My reputation goes up for having a diplomatic interaction with a rival police force. If I fail, I lose 4 reputation. I don't have any charisma on my main character, so I would have to get a 7 or higher on a D10. That's probably not going to happen. I can search the scene here for a total of both my characters at 10 with my analysis skill. I could gain 4 evidence, 1 new location. If I fail, I lose 4 reputation and I have to draw a random encounter. Or I could just pay her. She's kind of gruff. She's saying, I don't really want to share information, but hey, if you provide me with some money, I could let you in on a little secret. I don't want to do that. I only have $2 on me. I only have 2 ether. I'm going to go for number 2 here. So I will take my D10, and you have to do your first character and then your second character. And the reason that's important is your main character may have a way to spend currency to boost their roll. You have to do all of that before you move on to your second character. So you can't just wait until after everybody's rolled to go back to spend your boosts. So, okay, so we will do my main character here. A 6 plus 3 is 9. So her total is 9. And then my rookie here, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I needed to get a 10 or higher. So I searched the scene around Officer Stacy Quad and I end up finding 4 evidence. So I will remove 4 evidence from my final encounter, which will bring that down to a 1. So now there is 16 more pieces of evidence I need to find before I can interact with my final encounter. Okay, and I also draw 1 location into my pool. Maybe Stacy tells me, you may want to go check out the Sector 3 in Sidian. I heard something is going on there, that maybe the hackers are involved there. Okay, so we have dealt with our first responder. We put her to the bottom of the deck. And now we do have this new location. This new location takes 9 ion charges to travel to. I only have 8, so I can't get there. So I'm going to put that behind here. So now this is my timeline. Now let's stop by the chief's office and see what the chief has to say. The chief rarely gets in on the action, but when he does, it's serious. I got a call from the people who run this mad Civitas of ours. They don't care how many you question. This crime needs to be dealt with quickly. This is the sort of policing you're always wanted. This is the sort of policing you've always wanted. Why aren't you smiling? Okay, so there's no limit to the amount of people that you can bring in for questioning. You may take the above action repeatedly. Wow. So there's no qualifier. There's no role. I get to do, because every time I do this, though, I have to have a random encounter. Interesting. So this guy actually will stay out. He kind of, I can keep returning to my chief to draw 1 witness card, either from the pool or if the pool goes away from a blind. And when I do that, I automatically gain 1 evidence, but I have to have an encounter. That is a really man. Every time I play this game, I find some new way that it's wanting me to interact with it. But okay, I don't think we need to do that right now. So I can remember that I can go to the police chief's office. One thing I wanted to remind myself of, the witness pool and the location pool. At the beginning of the game, you are limited to 3 cards in each, and there are 2 locked slots. And so I like to put these 2 little tokens at the end of these rows just to remind me that these slots are locked. Throughout the game, you can unlock those slots, and that will allow you to have a bigger pool of known witnesses and locations to investigate. Okay, so we don't need the police right now. We're going to leave, and we're heading over to Pace Quadrant with a qualifier of 8 ion. We have 8 ions, so we're able to travel here. And we arrive at Pace Quadrant. We're trying to investigate the hackers of Civitas Nihilium. And here it says a common, unnaturally free, a commune, unnaturally free from violence. Scanners detect violent thoughts within visitors, turning away those who go there with ill intentions. Okay, so hopefully my intentions are good. And we drive up, we show up to the Pace Quadrant, and my trigger finger won't move. So we're being kind of paralyzed or something here, and we need to be on our best behavior. And so we need to have an analysis roll of both of our characters here, and we will get to do what it says down at the bottom here. So hopefully we roll well. Okay, on our D10, so analysis, my main character here, a 10 plus 3 is 13, great. And 16, 17, excellent. So we hit the high total there of 15 or higher. So at the Pace Quadrant, we find some evidence. Maybe the person who is pacifying negativity is one of the hackers, and we track them down into Pace Quadrant. We find traces of their computer systems here, and we remove 5 evidence. Okay, so now we only need 11 evidence for this final encounter, and we get to draw 2 witnesses. Now, unfortunately, the 2 witnesses that we have to choose are these guys here, and they have high qualifiers of reputation, 10 and 15. So they get drawn into our timeline, and we can put those guys in the back because we won't be able to interact with them for any time soon. Okay, so we have done with Pace Quadrant. Pace Quadrant goes to the bottom of the location deck. And now we have Sector 3 with a ion of 9. I only have an ion of 8, so we can't go there. That needs an ion of 7, but a reputation of 6. We can't do that. That needs a reputation of 9, a reputation of 10, and a reputation of 15. Okay, so we've kind of hit a dead end. We have no other witnesses, no other locations. We can't afford to go to any of these places. Our investigation has stalled, but we have gotten rid of 9. We have found 9 pieces of evidence. One thing we could do is we could return back to our chief's office to take advantage of this here. Let's try that. We'll go back to our chief, kind of our tail between our legs. I say, hey, chief, man, throw us a bone here. And maybe somebody had come in. Somebody from that first location had come in and turned themselves in for something. And so we can draw 1 witness, we can draw and 1 piece of evidence, but we have to have an encounter. So I will remove a piece of evidence. I will draw a witness of 4. Great, we can interact with this guy. I'll put him on top there, or patient's driver, probably they. And then we have to have an encounter, and an encounter always goes to the top of your investigation timeline. You have to do your encounters before you can do anything else. And this is Hot Ramen, a computer virus attack, either randomizer, origin known to be connected to the Gleehead gang from Civitas Tal. Okay, that rival city and their Gleehead gang has sent us this Hot Ramen virus. We don't have much, or this could work out great, or maybe roll your fate die, both. This is your new ether account. Oh, so they might give us ether. Okay, so we can roll this and combine it. A 10, yes. And a 1, 11. We went from 2 to 11. This is amazing. Okay, so our new total is 11. So I'm going to put 6 on my main character and 5 there. Excellent. Now, we have just encountered our first encounter. After you have an encounter, you put that to the bottom of the deck, and then you get to replenish your pool of potential witnesses and locations. Okay, so I have a Jojo Skriniari here with a reputation of 8. CA4012 with the reputation of 12. Will Radcliffe with the reputation of 4. Nice, a nice low reputation there, so we might be able to draw him into our investigation. And then we have our 3 locations. The Deckard Institute of Technology, speaking of Blade Runner there, Deckard, with only an ion charge of 4. Sector 4, Cersei. And finally, we have the Palfapurger Junction with an ion charge of 4. Okay, cool. We have some lower numbers now. So we have we've learned some potential information. We have some potential locations, and we have some better potential witnesses. But now we get to have this patient's driver who was in the police station when we went back to talk to our chief. And they say, I can't honestly explain exactly what I saw. They were fast, efficient, and almost inspirational in their execution of the crime. Oh, so she watched the hackers, but she didn't really understand what they were doing. I wish I saw more. They were very impressive. Wow, so she was impressed by their hacking skills. And now we just have a straight roll. It is bad that I feel bad about this. Is it bad that I feel bad about this? And we're trying to get a charisma roll. So we kind of need to sweet talk her into maybe sweet talk them into maybe getting a little more information. We don't have any charisma. So this is just going to be a straight roll adding together. A 3 plus a 9 is 12. Hey, we didn't do too bad. 9 to 13. We are able to get 2 evidence from them. So I will change this 5 into a 3. We only need 8 more evidence for this final encounter and 1 location. Okay, so was she, she was the first. They were the first witness. So when you interact with a witness after you are done, you move them down to your final encounter for them to become a potential key witness later down the road if this stalls out and becomes a cold case. But we can draw 1 location. So patient's driver, they tell us about a new location. And I think they tell us about the Deckard Institute of Technology. It only needs 4 ion charges to get to. I'm going to put that to the top of my investigation timeline. And I think that's where we're going to go next. So we head off from the police chief's office towards the Deckard Institute of Technology. This building is a research institute where they have been investigating the integration of enhanced humans in society. Maybe patients notice that one of the hackers had some kind of lanyard. They mistakenly had their badge on and gave them away. And so we need to go and we need to search for for any kind of traces of this hacker who was an enhanced human. And we show up to the institute, and we can do a combined roll to choose either our analysis or our charisma. We're going to choose our analysis. All right, so this is my main character. Roll the 2 plus 3 is 5. 6, 7, 8. Pretty low here. So not a 1 to 6. We get nothing, but a 7 to 9. Okay, so we have 1 piece of evidence. So we'll change this 3 in for a 2. We're getting down there. And we also get a ion charge. I will charge up my main character to 4. So now we do have our 9 ions. So now we can head off from the Institute of Technology to Sector 3 in Sidian. Okay, so now we're at Sector 3 in Sidian. Everywhere you go within the sector, you get the feeling of being watched. The inhabitants of Sector in Sidian are hiding something. It's best not to linger here for too long. The sector has a reputation for turning an inquiry into a rumble pretty quickly. Okay, man, if we fail this, we have a lot of random encounters. We're looking for a 20 or higher on analysis, and we can get 8. We could solve this crime right now. We can get enough evidence here. This is a really volatile area. The hackers are known to hang out in Sector 3 in Sidian. Let's see if we can do this or not. Here's my main character roll. A 3. No, I don't think so. So 6 plus, a 10, 16, 17. We have 15 to 19. we find 5 evidence here, so we can remove our 5 evidence. We only have 2 more evidence for this crime. However, we also have to have 2 random encounters. So I will draw 1 and 2, and now we have our random encounters. The chatbot black market. Welcome to Chatbot, the social neural network for all patriots living their best lives within Civitas Nihilium. Keep chatting, keep surfing, keep shopping. Ready to align matter printer code CNPD 108. Okay, we can try to hack the chatbot. We have a combined roll of an analysis of 13 or higher. Let's see if we can do that. A 2 plus 3 is 5. Plus 6 is 11. 1, 12. No, we are just about below. I don't think there's anything to do. I can do that. Unsuccessful. You may hold this card and try again every time you attempt a trial. So we can try to hack this card. Really cool. Awesome. Now we did have a successful encounter. So we have 1 empty location. I can replenish that there. And that is the Ridley Institute. Perhaps the Ridley Scott inspired institute. Oh no. But in this location in Insidian, we come across a cannibal of the outer wall. This is going to be bad. Okay. Barbarians living on the outskirts of the Civitas idea. The media portray them as cannibal savages. Your orders are to always shoot to kill on sight. So we're having an altercation here. This is a physical altercation. We've collected some evidence, but we are attacked by these cannibals. Techno cannibals or something. So we have to make a combined engagement roll. We have 0 engagement. And so, yeah, this could be really bad here. We have a 6 for our main character, plus a 4 is 10. 10 to 14. No, we were here and we were able to destroy them and pacify the situation. So we have what is that? Not engagement. I always forget the name of this thing, reputation. So we gain some reputation for fending off the cannibals. I'll raise my reputation of my rookie to 3. And we also get 5 ion. I will raise my ion of my rookie to 6. Now I can start a new die. And I have 4 more. So I'll add that to my main character there. Okay, so we have done both of our encounters. Now I don't have any other blank spaces. So even though I solved that encounter, I don't add anything to my witness pool. We're done here. I can slide that under. And now we can continue on. For brevity's sake, I'm going to say that we found our last 2 pieces of evidence. And let's say we were able, we only had 1 key witness, and that was our patient's driver. But hey, she sent us on, so she led us to some good places, or they led us to some good places. So I'm very happy that we went back to the police chief, and we were able to get a hold of patients here. And now let's see what our final encounter is. The hackers of Civitas Nihilium. Connected to Wilfred Talon. Thank you. You saved Nihilium yet again. Okay, we don't read that yet. I forgot. We have to do these 3 now. So now we have to kind of finish our investigation. We have to have a final analysis of the evidence. So here, we have to have an analysis roll of 9 or higher. If we fail that, we have to add evidence back to this card. So some of our evidence ended up being wrong, and we lose 3 reputation for that. At that time, that's when we could return back to our key witness to try to remove that evidence. We could continue to question her, and we could say, hey, you told us about this, but I think that's wrong. And maybe they remember, oh, yeah, that's right. Well, this and this happened. So then we could remove that new evidence. And then we have to engage with the hackers. We have to bust through their door with an engagement roll of 9 or higher. If we fail that, we take 2 damage and we lose 3 reputation. And then finally, we have to testify, and testify takes charisma. I don't have very much charisma, but it's only a 10 or higher. But if we fail that, then the jury says, no, back to the drawing board. You guys need more evidence, and you lose reputation. If you solve this crime, then you gain 3 reputation, 4 ether, 2 ion charges, and then with those new totals, you go on to your next crime. And in between those times, you can also go and you can upgrade your character with a whole bunch of the different upgrades. Okay, that was a really long explainer of this game. But I think it's the best way to show this game because there are so many neat things in this game. This game is awesome. I absolutely adore this game. It is so cool. It is exactly the kind of game that I love. It's a game about stat tests. It's a game about random encounters. It's a game about connecting the dots between all of these random points and trying to come up with some coherent story. And the theme is so strong that it's very easy to do. And you can very easily get lost in this world that James Bradley has created. This is a wonderful game, and this game should be back in print. I wish this game was available for everybody to get. I had never even heard of it. I am so glad that a Dungeon Dive patron told me about it. It is pretty hard to learn from the rulebook, but his 2.5 hour explainer video does a really good job. I think in addition to the rules just being kind of hard to follow, the all cap font is a little hard to read, and that is especially true on some of the cards. But I know all of the art was actually done using an old Amiga. And so if you like things like Police Quest and Space Quest, you'll be right at home with the art. And the soundtrack was also done on an Amiga. And that's kind of a special place in my heart because my first electronic show was actually done using an Amiga 2000. Back in the day, I had some drum machine programs and some really rudimentary synthesizer programs on the Amiga 2000. And I had one of those when I graduated from high school. But yeah, the Bradbury Towers, the White Room, the Brechtum Manor, the Temple of Miserable Bliss, Taylor Road, the Silver Guy District. Yeah, oh man, just a great game. So hopefully I showed you guys. I don't think I made too many mistakes. I probably made some. There's a lot of weird kind of interactions and rules inconsistencies. But yeah, Civitas Nihilium, highly recommended. Hopefully you can go out and find a used copy. Hopefully it comes back into print at some point. We will talk to you later. Bye-bye.